here along with Olive, and to me, art is a way for me to express my personal feelings and my personal views, just as a writer would write a book, in a sense. I first started painting a couple years ago, and these are some of my very first attempts where I think I actually succeeded. This is acrylic, and that's actually dry pastel, which is a lot like chalk. My concentration for AP was a theme that comes up in my own artwork all the time. It was this connection that we have with nature and how we impact it and how nature relates to us in all the ways it does. I have a lot of paintings that I really don't like, to be honest and frank. As an artist, that's a reoccurring theme. And with some of the ones that I actually keep, I'll go back to them at a later time and see, like, if I can look at them differently, like, and see the place in a new way. Like, if you went to the same place and it was spring once and then it was winter the next, it looks like an entirely different landscape. So I took this and I created that of it with a different sort of style, obviously, something that I've never really done before. I usually spend anywhere from 2 minutes to 6 hours on any given piece, painting, sculpture, whatever I'm doing. Also, good nature, again, it represents something that's very important to me. And no matter how hard I try to get away from my main style and my main theme of whatever I do, I can't escape it. It's a curse and a blessing, I guess, in a way. I also do commissions once in a while whenever somebody's like, hey, I really like your stuff. And I painted this for a couple of little girls that I babysit across the street. And I'll do whatever I can in my limits of my ability for whatever anyone wants. I've done tattoos, sketches, I've done photographs, I've done portraits, I've done whatever anyone wants me to do. Also, another thing I'll do is I like to dip into photography sometimes. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but I'll take a photo that I've taken and I'll try and replicate it. Obviously not the same thing, but I think mainly for me art is about representation and not hyper-realism. It's not about the exact thing. I'm not trying to make this chair look exactly like a chair when I'm painting it. Another thing, I also don't work too huge. This is probably the only big one I've ever done. It's basically this size. And I try to stay in my main little safe area of 12 by 12 paintings. And I'll do watercolors as well. I love watercolor. Just like Olive loves watercolor. It's so easy and free-forming. And I like that. I like that it can go where it wants to go. And I think that's what gives life to a piece. Here's some in-process stuff. Again, this is my little messy watercolor palette and my Sharpie. And what I'll do is sometimes I'll just make a mess of watercolor on a piece of paper. And it won't be anything. It won't have any shape or form. It'll just be random. And then I'll go back over it with Sharpie and create something like this with it as well. And in my future, I'm going to Mecca, and it's an art school, and I plan to be an art teacher. It's all right here. I think art is a very important subject, and it shouldn't be the first thing cut. You know, it shouldn't be like, oh, well, music and art aren't as important as science and technology, but I think throughout history, art has played an extremely important role, and it should continue to play the role of remembrance and celebration and all these wonderful things that, you know, wouldn't happen